Myself, when the 8 hours a day came in, I was working at the mill. See, I'd work part-time, work in the fields to help my daddy. My daddy was a farmer.
Medrick Martin not only sold general merchandise, but beer and drinks to white and black alike. Field hands and cane mill workers would come here after their turn in the rows. They would come here in the late afternoons and raise the roof. The Cajuns call a store like this, where people come to drink and pass a good time, they call that a bujoom.
That's what they used to call my place, the bujoom. That originally comes, they used to call this the bujoom.
The bujoom, what does a bujoom mean?
That means dive in, fall in. Bujoom means fall. So you're going to fall over.
You can only imagine now the parties, because the mill is closed and only a few revelers still come by the bujoom. It's just not the same as when Medrick Martin opened this side room in 1936. Medrick and Mildred have been married for almost 60 years, and he still calls her the sweetest thing that ever came out of Jeanerette.
Well, we have our ups and downs. Like anybody that's married will have a little contrary, but you see, when she gets mad, I stay glad.
Medrick Martin is an extraordinary man. Every day he has gotten up with the sun and gone to bed not long after it's set on the cane fields of St. Mary Parish. Every day, he has opened this store because the people depended on him to do it. He put his children through college on the profits of this store, on these Tupelo floorboards, now smooth with the wear of his feet and the feet of children buying candy and mothers buying diapers. He still walks. He has walked on these boards for 60 years.
This is one of the original ones that I got when I came in the store. Now, it's starting to show its age too, because it's wear too. I can show you that. You see the hole is starting to come out there. I had to make a little repairs on it if you pass.
What is that? It's very smooth.
That's a hole. So that's where I rubbed my hand till it wore completely out, so I had to do a little patchwork on it.
And so you've patched it under here?
Patched it under there.
You wore out the wood?
Wore out the wood with my fingers coming through.
You wore out the wood in this after 60 years?
After 60 years. That's one of the original ones I had. And I never owned the cash register in my life.
Does this tell you something about how long you have been here, Mr. Martin?
I've been here a pretty good little while.
A pretty good little while. The sanding of human tirelessness. And at the corner of one counter, a worn spot where he has rested his feet these 60 years.
My hand here for a little support, and put this foot here, and that foot there.
In those 60 years, Mildred Martin has traveled the world on cruises and trips to Europe and even to the Great Wall of China.
He never would go, you see.
While Medrick Martin stayed at the store on Irish Bend Road.
He'd leave about 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes and come back. He wouldn't come for lunch. He'd come back maybe at 7 o'clock some nights, sometimes later. That's when he'd eat his main meal.
Someone had to open and close and tend to the needs of the people of the cane fields and the families that have by now all moved away. Where 500 families had credit recorded in his book, there are now 10. There is hardly anyone left to come to the bujoom. What's your philosophy on why there aren't any more country stores like this?
Well, it's getting harder. The big companies came in and they don't want to deliver to little country stores. And when the big stores I guess they buy in volume, they get it so much cheaper, then they can sell it cheaper than the little country store can.
There's a Walmart in Franklin, isn't there?
I guess so. They have a Walmart in Franklin. And they like to go in a store where they can get everything in the world they want, and the little country store can't afford to stock everything because he'd have too much left on hand.
But watch this. A customer walks in wanting some transmission oil. Does Medrick Martin have it?
Okay. No, we just have what necessities of life. The way
But
I
I just saw a guy walk in and get transmission oil.
Well, we have that. That's a necessity. You have to ride in his automobile a little bit. These country boys have a little automobile, so they got to have a little bit of transmission oil. you got to have some of the things, regular stuff. That's
But nothing fancy.
Nothing fancy. No, so you don't want no dead stock.
I guess the changes over the years have been gradual. There's the closing down of the sugar mill about 4 years ago, but that was dramatic. But things, you don't notice them changing, do you?
No, you sure don't. It looks like it grows on you. It looks like the modern time just grew on us. That thing, it come and thing.
Do you ever feel like you're out of touch?
Uh-huh.
You ever feel like you're out of touch, like you've been left behind?
Well,
that's a sad thing to say. But
sometimes you do when you sit down about 4 or 5 hours without getting the customer. You know, it makes you stop and wonder what happened.
Yet Medrick Martin is an extraordinary man who will not surrender to the economy or even the passage of time. He may yet wear through these slow times as he has worn out the wood in his store. For some people, satisfaction lies in money or power or fame. Medrick Martin has been satisfied to do one thing well. He is constant. There is no medal for Medrick Martin from the Chamber of Commerce. There will be few people who come back to the cane fields of St. Mary Parish to tell him what should be said. We will say it for all of them. Medrick Martin is an extraordinary man.